June 18, 1919.
Oh. Do you remember the date of birth of your mother?
Yes.
Which is?
April the 12th, 1891.
Let me ask you, can you speak a little bit louder?
Okay.
Okay, but don't get nervous, just speak a little bit.
Okay.
And your mother's full name?
Is Mary Thomas Diaz.
How do we spell her last name?
Diaz, D-I-A-S.
And your father's date of birth?
My father, December the 8th, the same, 1990, 1890.
1890.
Yeah,
And
because he's only 4 months younger than my mother.
And his full name?
Is Jaim, it is Portuguese, Jaim Cunha Diaz. James Cunha Diaz.
And where were they born?
Azores.
A particular town?
Yeah, well, it was in the country. You know, it's like a city in a country. My grandmother lived in a country.
And what did your father do for a living?
My father came to this country when he was 2 years old with his mother and father. And another brother. And he stayed here till he was 20. When he was 20, he had to go there for the service. Because the people would have to go to the same place. They called him there. So we went there, he met my mother, and they fell in love. In 3 months they get married, and he brought my mother with him. In 3 months, they came to America, my mother and my father.
He got called back to the Azores to
Yeah.
be in the armed forces
Yeah.
of Portugal?
Yes, but just to be there and, make all the papers was necessary, and he came back right away after 3 months.
He met your mother in just 3 months?
3 months.
Did they get married there?
Yes, married there, yes.
He didn't know her before, I guess.
No, because he was only 2 years when he came to this country.
And so what was the date of their wedding?
I forgot. When I used to tell
Well, you can tell me that later.
you. Yeah.
So they came here, and had your father spoke very good English.
Yes.
Did your mother speak English?
No.
And he must have had to help her then.
Yes, he did.
So, how many children were in your family?
6, my mother has 6 children. One
When-
died. The second boy died. When he was 8 months old.
Do you remember the year that they came here? The date of their immigration? Your father would be 20.
My father was 22, yeah.
So
My mother was
was
20. When she got married, she was 20.
So something like 1911 or 12
Yeah.
or 13
Yeah.
or 14. Do you remember their describing their voyage at all?
No, they come by boat, but she never talked about it. That was a good. Because she never complained.
Now, do you know where they live?
Yes, long.
In Lawrence.
Long.
And with so many people coming to Lowell, what made them go to Lawrence?
Because my father lived there when he was here with his mother and his father. Yeah.
So they went back there, and did they live in a boarding house?
Boarding house. Yeah. They're like a house. They can cook for themselves. Just rent like a room, and they can use the kitchen. Yeah. Not even used to cook.
And were any children born in the boarding house?
No. After my father bought a farm on Methuen.
On where?
Methuen.
In Methuen. Oh.
Yeah, about like a farm, house on a farm. And after a while, my father rent an apartment when she got pregnant. The first girl, and she had the first girl. 13 months later, she had another boy, That's the one died.
So do you remember the date of birth of the first child?
Yes, November the 29th, 1913. Yeah, 1913.
And the second one?
The second, just 13 months later, 1914.
What was the month?
The month, December.
December.
One in November, the other one in December.
And the child after that?
He died. 8 months later, he died. So my mother gets pregnant again for another girl. Another girl. In 1916. And after 1917, she had a boy. In 1920.
Now, what did your brother die from?
For some kind of fever in the intestines, and not too many daughters over here that time, and they don't know what it was at first, and died. Yeah.
So it wasn't a matter of their not getting there on time. It was that they weren't able to fix it.
No, the daughter didn't know too much about it. Didn't know what he had, so that's why he started getting weak and weak, you know. Started having diarrhea. Diarrhea started like on blood and everything. I can say.
That's a shame.
Yeah.
Did your mother ever work?
She worked when she came to this country. She has my sister. She was here for almost 2 years when she has my sister. She worked for the 2 years on wool mill in Lawrence. And after my sister born, she got pregnant right away for the boy. You know, she worked only 4 months after. She stayed home. She had another boy. After the other one 13, she had another one. She can go. Every 2 years she had a child.
And after the babies started to come, where did they live?
See, like they live like
on the farm.
On a farm, yeah. I born on a farm, me, and I think my brother too, yeah.
So
the older people.
Your mother worked in a mill for a period of time, but having purchased a farm, was your father a farmer and not a mill worker?
No. My father was a mill worker, but after he bought like a store, some kind of store, I don't know, like maybe those charity stores or something. And my mother was pretty good, well, you know, because he has that store and she don't have to go to work. But after he had a little money, he bought that farm and was there. Until my grandmother, she was only daughter, she has 2 boys. One was here in California already when my mother came. And the other one was there. Yeah, he's younger than my mother, 10 years. He was younger than my mother. So my mother was only daughter, but my grandmother, she was so bad because she didn't want her to come. It was so bad for her. She writing letters, my mother cried and cried. She wants to go back to see her mother. And when she has 4 children, she was pregnant for another one. She went back to Portugal to see her mother. So she went there and he said, well, you can go, and after I'll go if you like to stay there with the kids, I can go. They lived there. But after 2 years, my mother said, I don't think I want to stay. She won't. I thought, already she says, I'm going to start fixing the babies. I have to fix a lot of babies and spend a lot of money to come here afterwards. Too many children and everything. So he says, okay. So my mother started the papers to come back, and only paper she needs was like a visa, what they call it, from the council, the American council. And my father made one. He made it. He didn't go. I don't know if he didn't know or not. He sent one, made it by himself.
Made the paper?
Made the visa by himself, send it to my mother. Well, of course, get there, they can use it because it's not the right one. They want one from the council. So, and that letter, he says to my mother, he says, well, at that time he was have a good job, has a good job. He used to send a lot of money to my mother and everything. He has a beautiful job. He was like a boss from some company building mills and everything. But he keep going from one city to another. That time when he was my mother, he was in Chicago. He said, I'm in Chicago now. Don't write me again until you receive a letter from me, because I'm going to move, and I don't know the place yet. Since that day, I never again, my mother never something. Till today.
Oh, I'm sorry.
I never knew my father.
Oh,
Nobody knows what happened to him. Nobody. When we could walk, we come back here, but nobody.
How did you, Eolinda, get back to America?
Because I was American born. I born here. I can come. I have the right to come.
Oh, I understand that, but you mean your mother and
But
your
my mother-
siblings never came back?
My mother came back too, but it was after 29 years. We've been there for 29 years. And of course, it's a lot of money. We didn't have the money because my mother has 5 children there. Of course, we live with my grandfather and grandmother, and they have enough to support like the food and everything, but the clothes, for the clothes, they don't, they can do it because it was too many. It was 6 people, and so my mother had to go to work. She worked hard.
So let me just find out, your mother was nearly 55 years old when she came back here then.
Well, she came back.
If you lived
Yeah.
there for 30
But
years.
we were there for almost 30 years, yeah.
So she
I was
must have-
31 when I came to this country, 31. And I went there when I was 2. And I was 30, almost 30 years there.
So she had to be in her middle 50s when
Yeah.
she had to come back here and find a job.
Oh, yeah, yeah. She came here, she didn't go to the job right away. After she worked for the presser, and what do they call them?
In the laundry?
No, the sewing place.
Oh, yes.
She would like the stage, but she is pressing clothes, the dress, and was in Highcroft, Lawrence Street. Remember the place? I worked there too. As a stitcher.
Now, didn't your mother have any claim to the farm, the property that your father had?
We never knew what happened to her. My mother went to see one day. She was still there. She said the house was there, but it was almost gone. Just never take care of them. So we never knew.
He just left the
He
farm?
just left the farm.
But
Nobody knows if he sold them. We don't know nothing about him. Since that day, we don't know nothing. After 4 years, my mother was in there, and she went to Portugal. After 4 years, we never heard from him.
so she never found out if he still owned that property, because
No.
then she would be entitled to it.
No, we never find out. My mother tried to write a letter to that company. Somebody gave my mother a name, the company, when he was working in Chicago. But they said they don't have that name there, nothing happening. They said he died in there. Some man from Portugal, he was there working with him. He said he saw some machine come and kill him, But we never know for sure. Because the company says nobody died there, and nobody who was worked there with that name. So my mother. Well, for my mother to have money, when she came to this country, she couldn't, have a lawyer or something and find out a lot of things. We didn't have no money.
So what do you remember about living in Portugal then?
Oh, I remember a lot of things because I came when I was.
Well, tell me about that. Tell me what you remember about that.
Well, like I live in my grandfather's house when I till I was 6 years old. And when my father stopped writing, nobody knew where he was. My mother had to go to work. But she was in a country. This work was on a city. It was this lady, a rich lady. She had a mother, 93 years old. And she came to my mother's house, my grandmother's house, and she said my mother wants to go work for her, just to take care of the old lady, because she can do nothing for herself, 93 years old. And my mother says, yeah, but I have this curve. My mother loves me so much. She doesn't want to leave me there.
You're doing a good job.
Yeah, and she says, yeah, I like to go and I need to go to work, but I have this little girl. She won't leave me. I never leave her alone, and she never leaves me. My mother had a boy day, and after 3 months, she was pregnant. She had a boy day, but the boy was all my grandmother's boy. She loves him. He loves her well. She takes care of him and everything. He didn't care to come with my mother because he loves my grandmother so much. But I love my mother. I love my mother. So she said, no, that's nothing. She can come with you. That's okay. She can come with you. Took my mother and me. We came and lived there, night and day, like it was our house, you know. They dress me up. They buy everything I need, you know, for me. They feed me and everything. And my
like another grandmother.
Yeah, she was very nice to me. And after the old lady died, about 3.5 years later, my mother was on a job again. But with this lady next door, she was an old lady, she was a rich too, and she was alone. She knew my mother was about a job. Before she leaves that house, she came and she asked my mother to go work for her, because she lives alone. So my mother said the same thing about me. She says, oh, you can bring her too. I'd be glad to have her, you know. There was a little girl that was about maybe 9 that time. Mm-hmm. And she was so happy because she wants me. I went. I wish to see she buy everything for me again. She dressed me up like, you know, she sent me to school, private school. I went to public school in the morning, in the afternoon. Because I didn't learn too good, so she wants me to learn better. You know, she sent me to private school. She paid for the school, was good. And after, but I have another 2 sisters. One stayed with my grandmother and my brother, and the other one, the other brother was an aunt come from Brazil. They said to my mother, oh, I can take care of the other 2. So my mother says, oh, well, of course, she had to come to the city, and she lives in the city too. And I said, oh, that's good, because we'll be at least in the same place, that we can see one another. So my mother came to, they went out, you know. They promised they're going to leave everything, because they don't have no children. They're going to leave everything to the both kids. So, but a poor couple, you know, old-fashioned. My sister, she puts in they can come outside, they can do nothing, just inside the window looking out, so we can never come outside. She was very strict, very strict. Oh, every time my mother was there, she cried. She would say, Mom, sitting with you, I like to go with you. My mother comes from there so sick, because the boy will cry so much. And after a while, my mother I had to rent an apartment and get all my children together and live together. That's what she did. She rented a house, we lived together. But one was my grandmother, the youngest one. He never came from my mother. He never came to this country, and then after 20 years, because he was Portuguese. He was happy.
So what made your mom decide to come back to America then?
Because of my sister. Well, we didn't never think about coming to America, because there's too much money, so much money to come at that time with the planes and everything. Already here was too much money. My mother didn't make enough to stay. But with this guy, a Portuguese guy, Jaim Cunha, I don't know if you heard about it, Jaim Cunha. He lives in Lowell. Yeah.
That must be where I heard that name.
Yeah. He went for a visit in Portugal, and he asked my sister, what are you doing in here, Miss place so, foreign, awkward. Yeah, what are you doing here? Why don't you go to America? Because you American. She said, yeah, but I don't have no money. My mother don't have no money. How could I go? We need papers someday, and the bird, what they call it, yeah. I need everything. He says, no problem. That's not a problem, because if you want to go, I'll find everything. I'll take care of the papers, the birth certificate, and I'll take care of it, and I'll do everything, and I'll find the money. He says, I don't have the money myself, but I know somebody will let you borrow money to come. He did. God bless his soul. He did. After maybe a month or so, the papers were there. My sister started getting ready, and she came to this country. She came maybe before me 3.5 years. Then, with my other sister, she sent for my other sister. She was American too, but of course she helped with the money. And she helped. She borrowed the money again because she didn't have enough time. They don't make too much money that time. She was working in a silk mill, and she didn't make too much money. But somebody let her borrow the money. My sister came. My sister had 4 children. They had to stay behind. I never let them leave my kids behind. But she did, poor thing. She needed so bad, It was 4 kids, and it's hard in that country for children. And it has a job, but the job didn't make too much money. So my sister came and we took her behind. Was an older one, was only 11 years old. Look, I feel so sad when I see him come to my house. Well, the 3 of them behind her look like it's so sad. So, but she took care of the brothers and sisters, and after America, I think it was 1.5 years, she sent for them. She paid the money she owned. She didn't have enough money. The people was rich people, came from Portugal, but they don't work, but they have a lot of money. They let her borrow the money for all the family, for the 4 people, 4 kids and her husband. So they came. And after I started getting, but nobody came together, husband and wife, the children at that time, because that's why she didn't bring it, because she didn't have the money, but she didn't bring it. But it was a time they said, we're going to go together. It'll be a time you're going to let us go together. And I come home and I tell my husband, I said, I'm going to go too. I'm going to take care of my papers. I'm going to go. He says, no, you're not going. Not until I find out someone can get the America with his wife all together. You understand what I mean? So he never let me take care of the papers until he find out. When it was Gladys, his sister-in-law, came to this country with her husband. I find out, and I go home. I say, you know something? Somebody just get in America. I can start taking care of my papers. He says, okay. So I went the same day, I went to take care of my, fix all the papers that I need. And we came to this country. You and your husband? Me and my husband, my 2 children. And your 2 children? Yeah. Yes.
What's missing in the story, it's a wonderful story, is when you got married. And Of course, we lived together. When my mother, like I said, my sister comes to this country. I lived with my mother for a while till I was 22, and I get this boy. I laughed so much, and glad we get married. But my mother had a hard time to, but my grandfathers, they have a lot of feuds, That's why. That's when my mother sold those land, and in the house. She had a house. She sold the house to make, to buy all other stuff so they can get married. So they get married after 9 years. It was when I started taking care of the babies. I was married for 9 years. I had 2 children, a boy and a girl. And you all came here?
We all, here now.
Well, we had some die already here, but they all came. The five.
Did your mother come?
My mother came 7 months before me because my mother was an American born, but my sister came fix for the mother and came. Went to live with her, with my sister. And when I came, I went to live with my sister too because we don't have no.
What year was that? You don't remember?
When I came, I was 49,
49,
19.
What
No, well, it was only 49 years I've been here.
was June 1949?
June 1949.
Yeah, when Paul was born, remember?
Exactly, yes. June 17, 1949, yeah.
Have you been friends all that time?
Oh, yeah, because her sister.
My nephew was born June the 15th, and they had my sister's telephone number to call, but it happened that my sister was in the hospital with her son, and they
Couldn't get nobody. We in Boston know how to say a word in English. No.
They didn't know
So their arrival coincided with the birth of your nephew, and that's how you remember it.
Yeah, but my sister lived across the street from her sister. That's where she lives across the
Her
street.
sister didn't have a phone. She gave my sister a
Yeah,
phone.
she didn't have a phone.
But my sister wasn't there because she was in the hospital.
These are exciting times.
Yeah, yes,
Nice
yeah,
story.
but
Poor
was this
things, they didn't know the language.
with this guy come from California? He went to Portugal. He came back with us, but he knows how to speak English. He came back and when we went to try to get a phone, nobody answered the phone. I went to see him. I said to him, it was 3 o'clock in the morning. We got here, and we don't know what to do with it. I went to him and I said to him, what am I going to do? I don't know, not with nobody else's telephone. I don't know not even a word in English. He said, don't worry about it. We've been lucky so many times, you know. He says, don't worry about it, because I'm going to find out what time my plan leaves for California. So if you leave late, if I have enough time, I'll go with you. I'll take you to Lowell. We have the address, but we didn't have no telephone to call somebody to come and get it. And we went to find out the plane never leave until 4 o'clock in the afternoon. And he came with us. We don't have enough, most didn't have enough money to pay that, was $13 for the taxi. He went to talk to the man, it was a colored man. He talked to him, he says, you can take us to the Lowell. He said, yeah. She asked, how much? He said, 13. We have, I think, $3 left. Never forget this. We're so afraid if we take more than 16, we don't have enough. But the other guy probably will pay for the rest. And when I get in Lowell, my mother or my sister paid. My mother was here already. Yeah, he came with us. He went back with his driver to go back to California. And yeah, at 4 o'clock in the afternoon. Right? Yeah. The next day, the first person I saw was her mother. She was
And my sister.
yeah. She was there taking. She was doing something for Anilo because he wouldn't go home. Something she was there, and she says, "Oh, come on over here, come on over." We came to the yacht. Somebody took a picture. I don't know, took a picture the same day we came in. Laura's yacht. I didn't forget those things.
You have that picture?
Yeah, I still have that picture.
That's an important picture.
Oh, I didn't bring it. Yeah,
Now, you came on the plane, obviously.
Yes, we came on the plane. Yeah.
Now, this time after you got here, I want to be sure we get some important stuff. This time after you got here, you were how old then?
31.
31.
I came the 17th, my birthday was the 18th. The next day.
And where did you live?
I lived in my sister's house for 2.5 months in Knott Street. 7 people in 3 rooms.
And did you and your husband both have to get a job?
We didn't have not too much work when we came. For 5 weeks I didn't work one day. My husband didn't work for 2.5 months, but it was this guy. He has houses, rents houses, you know. Has a lot of things to do, paint and things like that. But he has his people, you know. But he was, sorry for us because we just came nothing, we didn't have nothing. He said, well, I can give you maybe 3 days a week, but $7 a day. So, $7 a day. My husband was so happy and he says, okay, I'll take it. Even for stew, he would have taken it because it's better than nothing. Well, he was working, he brings home $21. I was out of work for 5 weeks. And after, I went to the shoe shop, Robbie Shoe, in Jackson Street. Remember?
I remember
I
that.
remember that. Yeah, I worked there, but I was, putting the thing in the shoes, make my hands all bad. I have a big infection from those chemicals.
What were you doing to hurt yourself?
Era austral, que é que se chama?
Okay.
Austral, sapatos que eu
Oh, she was putting some chemical on the shoes
to make it
to
shine.
make them shine,
Yeah.
you know.
Yeah, but it was Grace was the floor lady. She was nice to me every day, every morning when I get in the shop. She came and put some cloth wrapped all over. I work all day like that. Pain, burn, it was so bad. But after she said to me, she says, I don't think you can stay in this job. I'm going to try to get you another job to wash the cement on the soles of the shoes. But it was chemicals too. It was water like that. But I had the water there and washing. And after maybe a week or so, my hands was all cut, all from that water. It was so bad. And I couldn't work anymore. I went to the doctor and says, I can't work because what started was too strong, my hands. So I went to work on this place with a lady, only a lady, and Gladys shop, and Marie shop. Remember the water tea?
Yeah.
Was this?
What were you doing there?
She make a repair. She turned hands up.
Excuse me.
Mm-hmm.
How could that have happened? We didn't stop. It hasn't been 45 minutes, has it? We did have.
I think so. It's almost 45 minutes.
What
time do you have to
We
leave?
start about 4.
Oh my
About
God.
4. 20 minutes.
I think I just heard it snap, so I don't think we missed anything. I hope not. Okay, go ahead.
So I went to this place. Was like she makes hands, aprons, things for Christmas, but she didn't know one word in Portuguese. I didn't know one word in English. But I went there. I was just for things. I keep signing. She tells me do this and this and show me how to do it, like just like from showing me, but she can talk to me because I can understand. I was there for about maybe 5 or 6 months. And after I went to high grad stitching, that have like, it was like a dress shop. Went there, I was there, I started. First I started iron clothes. And after she put
Your
me,
medal.
she put 50, that's too much. 50 cents an hour. I started working there, 50 cents an hour. I got to 75. They didn't
Yeah,
pay
get the kind of
much.
inside.
It's only 50 cents an hour.
Sally, we're still recording. Just a second. 5 more minutes. 50 cents an hour?
50 cents an hour I started. But after, I didn't work for too long there, especially to the 50 cents. She put me on buttons, to put the buttons on a dress, on a coat. And I was button, what they call them over there. Just put the buttons on the machine.
Cover buttons?
No, not cover, just put it on. See, like this button here?
Oh.
I put it in the machine and I put the clothes down and press it.
Oh.
Yeah, I was doing that for 75. For a while, I was there for 75. My husband went in a Lancet company. It was about 3 hand first, and we started. It's 89 cents an hour.
That was very good money, wasn't it?
Well, we thought about that, but it was very good. 89 cents an hour. He would stay there. And after, he was a loom fixer, but didn't go up too much. Just went up. When it went to $1, nobody paid less than $1. Was when he went to. We used to bring home, me and him, $59 a week. It was good.
In 1950?
1950.
That wasn't too bad.
Not too bad. Yeah, not too bad. We rent a house, a very small house, and not even a bathroom, just a toilet and nothing, no sink, nothing. Just 3 rooms. But it was the cheaper one we can find. And pay too much without doing 2 children and everything. So we stayed there for maybe about 6 months in that house. But the winters were so bad. That was an old house. So we found this house on Central Street. It's not there no more. Used to be John Sousa's Ballroom. You remember Central Street? I live on the 5th floor. You know, Manuel's mother lived on the 2nd floor. It was funny, yeah. She lived on the 2nd floor, and I live on the 5th floor, about 3.5 years.
What was your mother doing at this time?
My mother, she worked in the shop, like I said, but she gets sick, high blood pressure, very bad. She stayed home. She went to live with me, and after she lived with me. And she after she took her pension, and she was only $89. Help?
A month.
Yeah. So, she was very sick. The money was not even enough for the medicine. And she used to take a lot of garlic. And people said garlic is very good for high blood pressure. She used to smash it very good and put it in the mouth and drink it.
And it helped her, didn't it?
Helps, she said helps, you know. The medicine was too expensive, she can't afford it. But that was after she lived with me for a while. Until she died.
When did your mother die?
My mother died 33 years ago, January the 25th. It was 33 years. Mm-hmm.
Now, did she ever have any other suitors? Were any other men interested in marrying her? She wasn't interested.
No, she wants her husband back, she said. Every time, one day, was this guy come up to my house, knocked the door, and I never opened the door till I went to the window and I saw this guy going down the steps and looking out. And I go inside. My mother was in bed because she was in bed for a long time. And I said, you know something, I thought it was my father. He looks like my father. I never saw my father that looks like him. And he was looking through the window, he knocked, and I didn't open the door. She says, oh, why don't you open the door? I said, you want my mother, you want him? After what did he did to you? She says, he didn't do nothing to me. He didn't do nothing to me. Of course I want him. He was my husband. So she never get mad. She never hated him. Never. She would have taken him to come back. Nobody knew.
So that man left and you never found out?
I never found out. After I was sorry, I didn't ask what he wants. And at least he looks, I don't know, just because I was dying to see him or something. I thought it was him.
And she never had a picture of him?
She had a picture of it. When he was young. But after, they don't take too many pictures before. Or one reason because there's too much money. We never have the money. And the other reason they don't care. They don't use the pictures. Yeah.
I'm going to turn this off now because it's 4:30 and I promised Linda